All right. Welcome, everybody. It's 11 o'clock. I see that actually nobody is in the session right now, but we're going to start anyway. It is 11 o'clock. Hopefully, we'll get at least a couple of attendees because we've got a really great message today. Some news about a statute that was passed this year. And the statute is codified into several areas of Wisconsin law, and it allows for remote witnessing and notarization of estate planning statutes. So I want to start with just a little bit of background. Estate planning documents are documents like wills, trusts, powers of attorney, healthcare documents like healthcare powers of attorney, HIPAA waiver documents, final disposition documents, and that is what's to be done with your body after you've passed away. All of these legal documents that people can sign traditionally have always had to be signed with the person in the presence of witnesses or notaries, all in the same room at the same time, and signing that way. At the beginning of the pandemic, there was a law passed. In fact, there was an executive order in Wisconsin by the governor that said notarization could be done remotely. But then very quickly after that, the State Bar of Wisconsin made it clear that this did not apply to estate planning documents. So all the documents that we talked about, or I mentioned before, wills, trusts, powers of attorney, could not be signed in a remote notarization type setting. So even though we had a pandemic where people were not supposed to be in the same room, if they're all possible, and there was a lot of risk of people getting sick and dying, especially in nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and places like that. They were very clear that in order to sign estate planning documents, you had to have present witnessing. So that made things difficult. The new law at that time, back in 2020, did allow for signing of things like real estate documents, deeds, and other things that needed to be notarized could be done through a remote notary law. And it didn't matter where in the world you were, that could be a legal document in Wisconsin. But until March of this year, that did not apply to estate planning documents. And so now we've got Wisconsin Act 130, 2023 Wisconsin Act 130, which was passed on March 23rd or 21st of this year, and went into effect 2 days later on March 23rd of this year. Essentially says now we can remotely notarize estate planning documents, and this is something that the former law did not cover. We can also remotely witness. So notaries are not necessarily the only type of witness that you have. You have to have separate witnesses that are not notaries or don't have to be notaries, especially in the case of a will or a healthcare power of attorney or living will. Those require two witnesses, but they don't require notaries. So now we can notarize remotely and witness remotely, but there are some rules that have to be followed. One of the rules for doing estate planning documents is that all of the witnesses, the notary, and the person signing the document must all be within the state of Wisconsin. That's a big deal. With remote notaries for other things, the notary could be, and in fact often was, in Virginia or some other state, and the person who was signing the document, in one case that we did it, was in Australia, right? So the remote notarization statute for non estate planning documents there's no requirement that everybody be within Wisconsin. But for estate planning documents, there is a requirement that everyone needs to be in Wisconsin. So let's say we have a person, call her Betty. Betty is in a nursing home, and it's hard for her to get out. In fact, it's dangerous for her to get out, and that she needs to do everything within the facility where she is. She's in a nursing home. So Betty's in Wisconsin in a nursing home, and Betty still has competence. So she knows what she's doing. She understands who her family is. She understands what she owns. She just has frailties and other issues that cause her to have to be in the nursing facility. So just as an aside, this requirement that a person be competent is not changed at all. The person must be competent in order to sign documents. This doesn't allow people in the nursing home who have severe dementia to sign documents any more than it did before. So the person has to be competent. The witnesses have to be available by video. They all have to be able to communicate in real time, so that any of the witnesses can communicate, any of the notaries can communicate, and the person who's going to sign the documents can communicate. And it must be supervised by a Wisconsin attorney. And this is important. Usually the attorney will serve as a witness or notary, or both. In fact, the attorney can serve as both. But even if they don't serve as a witness or a notary, they still have to supervise. So you may have, in some cases, a witness, another witness, a notary, and a supervising attorney, along with the person signing the document. So there could be 5 people. And oftentimes, I think we're probably going to have somebody assisting the person who's signing the documents, because another requirement is that we have to take note of the things that are happening, including who is in the room or present with the person who is signing the documents. And it could be a worker at a nursing home. So if Betty has somebody that's helping her with the technology, because she has to have a tablet or a computer with a camera and a microphone, and she may need help with that. Another thing that is suggested, and strongly suggested, is that the camera or the computer or whatever should be turned around so that the people witnessing can see who else is in the room, if anyone else is in the room. Maybe nobody else is, and it's not required that they be, but it needs to be noted for the record who's in the room, because there needs to be an affidavit afterwards that is signed by the supervising attorney that says this is what happened during this remote notarization. So the question then becomes, how are we going to get everybody's signatures on the same document? That's a great question. Sometimes you don't get everybody's signature on the same document. Sometimes one witness, let's say we have those 4 people in 4 different locations. So we got the signer, we got one witness, we got another witness, and we got a notary, and they're all in separate locations within Wisconsin, and they all have cameras, and they're all on there. So there are 3 different ways to do that. One way is to have everybody have a copy of the same document, and you have to show the document. The person has to show they're signing, so they have to be able to show the paper that they're signing, and the signing part while it's being signed. It can't just have head and shoulders while the person looks down and signs. That is not good enough. So there's a lot of rules that go along with this. And so it's important that the attorney, the supervising attorney, have a checklist to make sure that all of these things are complied with. So then if we're going to have everybody sign a separate document, everybody has to have a copy of the full document, not just the signing page. And each witness has to say that they're signing page whatever as the witness. And you have to turn down the camera so that the person can see the witness sign, that you can see the person sign, that you can see the notary sign, and that all has to be noted. The recordings of these sessions are also going to be very important to keep, so that it's clear that all of this happened within the law. Another way is to have all the witnesses and the notaries witness the person signing, and then that document is delivered to the attorney first, and then the attorney delivers it to the different witnesses and the notaries, and then they all sign the same document. But it can take several days and maybe even weeks. It has to be done within a reasonable period, though. So it can't go from the person signing to the witness. It must go to the supervising attorney first, and then to a witness, and then it can be taken back to the supervising attorney and then to the other witness. So it can be a long process. So it depends on the case and depends on the attorney, the supervising attorney, and the way that it's decided to be done. But you can have everybody have a copy of the document, and in some cases, in estate planning cases, you're going to have probably more than a dozen documents, and they have to all be printed out on paper, and each person has got to have a copy of that. Now, it also could be that, and probably is more likely, that the signing person is going to be remote somewhere in Wisconsin, and then the notary and the two witnesses probably will be in the same room. At least that's our plan for doing it, so that me and two of my staff would be the supervising attorney, the notary, and the two witnesses. So I'd be a notary and a supervising attorney, and then the other two witnesses would be with me. So we could all sign together in the same room. And then once we receive the original signed by the person, we attach the signature page from the other document and reassemble. And now we don't have many different documents to make a huge stack of paper. We can just take the extra signature page, put it on there, and then there has to be an affidavit also attached to the document that states how everything was done. One thing I forgot to mention, that the documents themselves have to indicate on the document that the remote signing procedure is being followed for this document. So those documents that are going to be remotely signed need to have that written right into the document. So an exciting new change in the law. It's going to allow us to serve people who would not otherwise be able to be served by our office, whether that's a person in a nursing home or bedridden at home, etc. This can be done. Also, if people are way up north and they want to hire our office to do the documents and to witness, nobody has to travel for that. It does add some extra steps and some extra work to the documents. So I expect that we're going to be charging a remote signing fee because the affidavits have to be done, and there's a lot of extra work that goes along with doing a remote signing. But in most cases, it's going to be better than risking a person's health or even their life by removing them from the care facility that they might be at, or taking the several hours that it might take to come down from Bayfield or something in order to sign documents that need to be signed in a hurry. So that's my presentation on that. I didn't go over all the intricacies of the law, but the main point is that it's a brand new world for estate planning, signing estate planning documents. We can do it remotely now, and we're able to serve more clients and help people who would not otherwise be able to be helped. So thank you for attending the session and for viewing this recording later on. And if you know of anybody that needs new estate planning documents and you're worried about that they won't be able to get to an attorney or witnesses, that kind of stuff, give us a call. We can help them, and we would love to. Call us at 608-268-5751. We have offices in Brookfield, Madison, and Oregon, Wisconsin, and we are happy to help. Thanks very much, and have a great day.